Chapter 22, Portal, Lypye, Jasmine, and Lypye's perspectives. Lypye's perspective. I ran to the house, noticing a black car I didn't recognize in the driveway. Next thing I noticed was the door busted in. Panicking, I ran into the house and noticed the shoe closet wide open. I then noticed the broken drone on the ground of the kitchen. I traced the line of sight from the broken drone to the living room. I ran to the living room. She must have used the drone in the living room. Jazz broke the drone and they ran. The back door was still locked. Not here. The other doors were still intact. So that means... I looked up the stairs. I crept up the first half of the stairs. They squeaked a little. As I rounded the corner to the second set of stairs, a sword came at my face. I grabbed the person's gloved hand and shoved them against the wall. I put my arm across their neck. I stared into the terrified expression and realized it was Jim Bob. I let go of him and backed up. What the fuck are you doing?
When I got here, Mickey was passed out and Kelly was nowhere to be seen.
He explained.
My only guess is that Jasmine, or its supermodel, has her.
Jasmine is the supermodel, I mumbled. I shook my head and looked up. Where's Michelle?
In, I'm assuming, Kelly's room.
He told me. We ran up the stairs and into Kelly's room. I kneeled down next to Michelle, touching her arm lightly when I noticed her trembling. She was lying on her back. Jazz used my power on her. Her mind is filled with darkness. There's a reason my power shouldn't be used on mortals. The darkness will eventually kill her, I explained. I've never even told Jazz that my power does this. His eyes widened in fear.
Can you remove it?
I took a deep breath. I've never successfully done that. Jawari has always had to purify the mind.
Where is she?
He asked. I looked down. I don't know.
What about Pantheria? She could heal...
She can only heal minor injuries, I interrupted. The darkness is beyond her power. He grabbed my arm.
You have to try. Please.
I yanked my arm out of his hand and stared at Michelle, terrified. I grabbed her arms and closed my eyes. Move. Lypye! I heard from behind me. I opened my eyes and looked behind me. Pantheria! Jazz hit Michelle with my power. I panicked, looking back down at Michelle. I have to remove the darkness. I closed my eyes again. Remove! I growled in frustration. Fucking remove! Lypye! She yelled. I looked over to see her kneeling beside me. Calm down. In order to use the power effectively, you need a calm and clear mind. Take a few deep breaths. I closed my eyes and took a few deep breaths. Now try. I took another deep breath. Remove. I opened my eyes and stared at Michelle, taking note of the black light surrounding my hands. I felt the pain of the darkness leave her body and go into my hands. The second it was all gone, Michelle gasped and opened her eyes. I fell back, letting her go, and took a few deep breaths. She was immediately in tears. Jazz has Kelly. She attempted to sit up, but immediately fell back down. My back. Pantheria carefully turned Michelle onto her stomach and lightly felt around her back. Fractured spine. Hold on. Pantheria put both her hands lightly on Michelle's back. A white light appeared. Once it was gone, Michelle sat up and crisscrossed on the ground. I stood up, leaning against Kelly's bed. Thank you. All of you, Michelle said softly. I looked down at the ground. My mind was wandering. Something about Jazz didn't add up. Lypye. Pantheria stood up and walked over to me and grabbed my hand. Please, share your thoughts. I don't think Jazz intended to kill Michelle, I admitted. I looked up at Pantheria's shocked expression. Let me explain my reasoning. Jazz has had telekinesis her entire life. Michelle, did Jazz use telekinesis against you? Yes. She threw me against the wall. I don't think she ever laid a hand on me once, she responded. Jazz could easily crush a mortal with her bare hands. She definitely could have done worse than a fractured spine. My power blast can kill an immortal. It definitely could have killed Michelle. She only did the blast strong enough to knock her out, I explained. She left her here to die in the darkness, Pantheria pointed out. I don't think that was intentional. I've never explained the risk of using mine or any other god's powers on a mortal. I've never had a reason to. I think all she wanted was to get Kelly. Shit, Kelly! Michelle and Jim Bob, Theria spoke up. Both of you have come forward and told a member of the Syara team that you knew each other's identities. I need the two of you to get the other 6 members to each other. I need the 8 of you ready to help evacuate the city if things go south. Meet up at City Hall. Theria, I said, I'll go after Jazz and Kelly. I need you to try and find Joria and Hyena, then meet up with us at City Hall. She nodded. You'll be all right on your own? She won't hurt me, I mumbled, not believing in that statement. I'll be fine. Jasmine's perspective. Around the same time, I had just got back to City Hall with Kelly. Karo and Kim had put together the rest of the ritual while I was gone. I had knocked out King after he refused to listen to me. In a ceramic bowl was water and sage. 4 lit candles surrounded the bowl and there was a knife off to the side. Kim and Karo stared at Kelly and I from the other side of the bowl. I held Kelly's arm tightly. She was crying. Hey, Kim started.
Jasmine.
Karo whispered. Jasmine, why do you want to open the portal so bad? Kim asked. Even we're not that evil. I need to prove a point. My kind aren't like what gods say. They're just misunderstood because of their power, I explained. Your kind? Kim gasped. That's why you're suddenly powerful. You're a demigod turned super immortal after you had your own demigod child. Demigod? Super immortal? Kelly asked. No, I'm not. Mommy's not.
You and her are, kid.
Karo told her.
You're smarter than other kids your age. My guess is that you've also discovered some powers.
Enough, I yelled. The less she knows, the better. Now, wait. Kim walked cautiously around the bowl to me. 9 years ago, you told me you saw good in me. I see good still left in you. I know you have the right intentions, but I was alive the last time the supermodels were out. You opened that portal and you're looking at the end of the world. You were way too little to remember that, I mumbled. I would have been around Kelly's age, but in God years, and had the amount of intelligence she has now. I will not forget almost dying. I used my telekinesis and used it on her throat, choking her. Karo charged at me.
Let her go.
I threw Kim on the ground and physically grabbed Karo's throat. The 2 of you charged into battle recklessly, almost like immortals. I threw Karo on the ground. Kim stood up and brushed herself off. We are immortals. I felt Kelly try to pull away from me, and I tightened my grip on her arm. I shook my head and pointed at King, who was still unconscious by the door. He's an immortal. I smirked at Kim. You were originally a god. If you let go of your evil beliefs and show a little bit of selflessness, you get your powers back. Once you're an immortal, you can't go back, and you're replaced, she snapped. I shook my head. Nothing is truly permanent. You're pissed at your mom for taking your powers and envy Lypye because she replaced you. In reality, you're the reason you can't use your powers. You chose to remain evil. You hold yourself back. I turned to Karo. You're half god. You're not just an immortal. Have you ever once tried to seek out and find out who your mother is?
I know who my mom is. She was afraid of me from the moment I was born.
He responded.
She refuses to acknowledge me as her son.
Have you talked to a member of the Syara team about how you feel? About your powers? Karo crossed his arms.
Would they listen?
You seem to have an excuse for everything. Are you in denial? Stop it, Mommy! Kelly yelled. Leave them alone! Karo and Kim stared at her in bewilderment. I yanked Kelly forward, holding her hand above the bowl, pulling off her glove. I almost forgot about you. Using my telekinesis, I brought the knife against the palm of her hand. I'm sorry, sweetie. Jazz, no! Kim yelled. I pushed Kim and Karo back with my telekinesis. They both landed on the ground. I closed my eyes and slashed Kelly's palm with the knife. My heart ached as I heard her scream, but I had to do this. I opened my eyes and dropped 3 drops of blood from her hand into the bowl. I let go of Kelly after the 3rd drop went in. She ran over to Kim, terrified. Kim and Karo were standing. Kim unclipped the fabric that connected her shirt and skirt, the one that went across her belly button, and tied it around Kelly's cut to stop the bleeding. Let power reign once again. Let the superiors show no mercy as the true rulers take their rightful place, I yelled. We felt a rumble below our feet. Kelly whimpered and hid behind Kim. A white beam shot out of the bowl and into the sky. A purple portal opened in the sky. Within minutes, New Katsy Castle was flooded with super immortals. One of them landed in front of me. You there! Are you the one who freed us? I nodded. I wish to free my own kind, to right a wrong, and prove to the gods that supermortals aren't evil. The supermortal laughed evilly. You are so naive! We are the most powerful beings in existence. Mercy is not an option. Our reign of terror will be reborn. I watched the supermortal jump off of the roof. I slowly peered over the ledge to see the supermortals wreaking havoc. There were dead mortals, fires everywhere, and a volcano in the distance. It's only been a minute. What have I done? A flash of a vision sparked in my mind. The ground floor of City Hall. Something's hidden there. Kelly's perspective. Kim had picked me up and ran with Karo and I to the roof door. One of the pillars broke as we were running due to a supermortal cutting it. We ran into the door and Karo dragged King inside as the pillar fully collapsed in the entrance, blocking it. Kim set me down and looked at Karo. What's our next move? Karo glanced at me quickly, then looked at Kim.
All the supermortals will be after Kelly. Her blood opened the portal. Only she can use the demigod pillar to close it back up. She is also the only demigod any of us know about.
We heard King groan.
What's this about a demigod?
Lypye's friend is a supermortal that opened the supermortal portal. We have the friend's demigod daughter, Kim responded. King stood up and I waved shyly.
That child is a magnet for supermortals. We need to get rid of it.
King snapped. I whimpered and hid behind Kim.
King.
Karo said.
Kelly is the only one who can help the gods close the portal. She's as good as dead if we abandon her. From then, it would only be a matter of time before we're dead too.
We need to get Kelly to one of my younger siblings, Kim admitted. King crossed his arms.
How do you expect to get her through that many supermortals?
Teamwork? I suggested. King rolled his eyes.
How about we realistic here? Okay, kid? Teamwork can help.
Karo pointed out.
Yeah, but what do the three of us have against the supermortals, especially with the stupid toddler as a liability?
King yelled. Stupid? My heart was beating fast and I was about to cry. I know I shouldn't listen to him, but he hurt my feelings. I walked over to the back corner of the room, sat down and balled myself up, staring at my knees. Really, King? Kim snapped. I noticed her walk over and sit next to me. Don't listen to him. He's pretending that he's not scared. Why are you being nice to me? I asked. What, because I'm an immortal I can't be nice? She tickled my side and made me giggle. She sighed, stood up, picked me up, and set me on her hip. The truth is, you're innocent in all of this. You're just a kid. She took a deep breath. You're also my niece. I quickly looked at her, shocked. Does that mean my dad is Prince Hyena Syara?
They really didn't tell you that?
King chuckled. Karo walked over to us.
The gods are afraid of demigods. Most likely the gods didn't want you to know how much power you have immediately. They probably would have told you when you were older.
We all heard a noise on the stairs. Kim quickly set me down as we noticed a supermodel running up the stairs. King, Kim, and Karo stepped in front of me. King charged at the super immortals, but it grabbed his arm, twisting it behind his back. No, stop! Kim pleaded. I took off the fabric Kim put on my hand, ran forward, pushed past Kim and Karo, then held out my hand. It made it stop moving. King quickly escaped, and I used my powers to push the supermodel down the stairs. I fell to my knees, feeling tired. I couldn't see straight, but I noticed the supermodel running back up. Suddenly, it stopped moving and fell to the ground. An arrow with blue feathers was in its back.
Chapter 23, Mission, the Invisible Huntress's Perspective. I ran up the stairs and pulled my arrow out of the supermodel's back. Looking up, I saw King, Kim, and Karo standing in front of me. Kelly was on the ground in a daze with one glove on the ground. She was gripping a black fabric strip. What happened? I asked.
We didn't do anything to the kid, if that's what you're implying.
King snapped. Kim walked over, grabbed the fabric from Kelly, then wrapped the fabric around her hand. Kelly put her glove on her other hand. Kelly's mother cut her hand. She wore herself out using telekinesis on that supermodel to save King. I'll take the kid from here, I told her. Kim stepped in front of Kelly, but I used my telekinesis to throw her aside against the wall. Kelly gasped and hid behind Karo.
How do we know we can trust you?
Karo asked cautiously. Look, I was paid by Jasmine to keep Kelly safe if Jasmine ever lost control of herself. My current mission is to get Kelly to Hyena or Lypye. I stepped forward and Karo stepped back, shielding Kelly. I sighed. If it wasn't my mission, I would have let all of you die. Kelly pushed past Karo and walked up to me. Do you have a plan? A way to get me to Lypye or my dad? I stared at her, confused. Thought you didn't know you were a demigod. Jasmine told her she was a demigod while putting the spell together. I told her that Hyena was her father. Kim explained. The three of you seem very protective of Kelly. Are you really immortals? I remarked. I don't care what I am, Kim snapped. She's my niece. A toddler should have never been brought into this mess. Karo nodded.
She is also the key to everyone's survival. All the supermodels will be targeting her. Her mother's also a really good friend of mine. Well, my disguise form.
King crossed his arms.
I don't give a shit about the child, but Kim's my girlfriend. If she wishes to protect the child, I will help.
Alright, maybe you can assist me, I suggested. Kim picked up Kelly. I will. Karo stared at the unconscious supermodel.
If every supermodel is after Kelly, where are they?
Unconscious. At least the ones that went to City Hall, I told them. My blue feather arrows can knock out a supermodel for half an hour if I hit the right pressure point.
How did you discover that?
Karo asked. The hard way. I tested them on myself, I admitted.
So you're a supermodel yourself?
King started. Yes, but I'm not like the others. I don't use my powers too often. The more powers a supermodel discovers and uses, the more corrupt they become. From there, they could take risky or irrational actions, I explained. Kim hugged Kelly. If you can clear a path, I'll stay with Kelly. I smirked and nodded. I slung the arrow bag off of my shoulder and pulled out a purple baton. Pressing the button, the baton transformed into a sword. I handed it to King. Do me a favor and help me clear a path to Katimar.
Why there?
He asked. I saw Hyena and Lypye on the roof. I assumed Kelly was at City Hall because that's where the portal is. I didn't expect to find the three of you here. Jasmine knocked King out and forced Karo and I to help her open the portal. Kim informed me, it will only work if you slash across the chest. That will knock them out for about 10 minutes, I explained. Karo, I need your shifting ability. He chuckled.
Yeah, you're about 10 years too late.
I could finish healing you and repair the damage, I told him. I'm stronger than Pantheria. I grabbed his hands and closed my eyes, forcing all of my energy on him. Taking a deep breath, I opened my eyes, noticing a bright light forming between our hands. When the light faded, I nodded. Try. Karo let go of my hands, took a deep breath, then morphed into me. He looked at his hands, shocked, and morphed back into himself.
Thank you.
He hugged me tightly. When he put his hands on my back, a thought came to my mind. A thought that was suppressed inside Karo's mind. A forgotten memory. What is it? Kim asked, staring at me. I let Karo go. The venomous teeth are passed down to you by your father, but the shape-shifting is a god power. I had a part of your memory pop into my brain. One you don't remember.
We can figure it out later.
King interrupted.
This supermortal and the other unconscious ones could wake up at any moment. We need to get the kid to Lypye and Hyena.
I nodded. Let's get to Katimar. Then we'll discuss the plan. We all slowly walked down the stairs. I was in the front. King was gripping the sword next to Kim and Kelly, and Karo was in the back. I peered around the corner. There were supermodels everywhere. Get ready to run, I whispered. I took off, shooting a supermodel in the back. As it passed out, I jumped over it, grabbing the arrow in the process. I then shot another one in the chest. Taking the arrow, I turned around to see King slash a few supermortals in the chest. Kelly let out a small scream, then she buried her face into Kim's shoulder. We ran out of City Hall and stared at the city in horror. It was literally on fire. The balance of life has been thrown off. They must be making more supermortals. Push through to Catty Mart, I yelled. King and I took turns knocking out the supermortals. I made sure to grab every arrow I shot. We went in through the broken glass door. I shot a supermortal in the chest that was standing behind King. Kim put Kelly down, making Kelly stand behind her. King and Kim, until we get Lypye and Hyena free, I need you to protect Kelly. Karo, I need your help. I've got a plan, I instructed. We all heard a noise behind one of the registers. I quickly drew my bow in the direction. Who's there?
Don't shoot.
I heard a male voice say. Show yourself and I won't, I responded. A male mortal wearing a Catty Mart work uniform stood up. Grandpa? Kelly asked.
Kelly, what are you doing here? Are you hurt? Where's your mother?
He questioned frantically. The two of you are related? I pushed. The mortal nodded and walked out from behind the register.
My name is Christopher Nelson. Kelly's mother is my stepdaughter. I hope she's okay.
Look, there's a lot to say and very little time to say it. Your stepdaughter was born a demigod. Then she gave birth to a demigod, I started.
Are you implying that Jasmine is a supermortal?
He asked. I nodded. She's also the one who opened the portal.
I don't believe you.
He yelled. Believe what you want, I snapped, picking up Kelly and handing her to him. Right now, every supermortal is after your granddaughter because she's the only known demigod in existence. It's true, Kelly said softly. I watched Mommy do it. Kelly, I continued, taking off my jacket. I threw the jacket on her head, then pulled up the hood I recently sewed on over her head. Use this to hide your face and protect this from me. I walked over to Karo and handed him a very powerful dagger. I need your help. I had walked all the way to the roof of Catty Mart holding Kelly's arm. She nor I were wearing the jacket, and she had both gloves on. Lypye and Hyena were cornered by 3 super immortals, 2 male and 1 female. Hyena was actually wearing a black t-shirt. I whistled loudly. They all turned to face me. I've got the demigod right here. No! Lypye yelled. Lypye and Hyena yelled in unison. One of the male super immortals stepped forward, smiling evilly. I glanced at Kelly and nodded, letting go of her arm. She quickly ran forward and stabbed it in the chest with a dagger, knocking it out. I quickly drew my bow and shot the female in the chest, knocking her out. The other male grabbed my arm, knocking the bow out of my hand. I had kneed it in the private area, causing it to howl in pain. Lypye threw my bow to me. I quickly picked up the bow, grabbed an arrow, drew the bow, and shot it in the chest, knocking it out. That was extremely risky, Lypye yelled. Do you think I would use the actual Kelly for that plan? I asked. Kelly smirked and morphed into Karo. He chuckled.
Besides, I consented to the plan in exchange for my power being fully restored.
They walked over to us, and Hyena crossed his arms.
Where is Kelly?
We all ran back to the front of the Catty Mart. King was swinging his sword at all the super immortals while Kim was running around, dodging the 2 of them as a distraction. I shot the 2 chasing Kim in the back, knocking them out. Hearing a scream from Kelly, I turned to face her, seeing a super immortal in front of her. Then quickly drew my bow. Before I could shoot, a black power blast flew at it, knocking it back against the wall. I shot it in the chest, knocking it out, then turned to face Lypye. She was staring at Kim. She looked over to see Kim's shocked expression. Huh, she exclaimed. Jasmine was right. The way to get my powers back was to let go of my will to be evil. You wanted to protect Kelly, Lypye said, amazed.
Hello?
King yelled with an attitude. We all turned to face him, noticing he was surrounded by 4 super immortals. I took a couple arrows from the unconscious super immortals and shot the 2 closest super immortals in the back, knocking them out. King slashed the other 2 in the chest, knocking them out.
I wish you had noticed sooner.
Karo touched the doorframe.
I just wish the broken windows were replaced with reinforced steel to protect us for a while.
To her surprise, all the windows turned into steel.
We were engulfed in darkness, well, except for the dim, red glow of the emergency lights.
What the?
Karo said softly, backing up. That's it, I exclaimed. The repressed memory. I walked over to Karo. You've always believed that you're evil because you're part immortal, but you're also a god.
What are you getting at?
Karo questioned. It's why you can morph, why you can change the windows. You're the god of change, I replied. He stared at me, wide-eyed. Karo, you've always known. You hate thinking about your god roots, so you've suppressed that thought. My guess is that it's something to do with your mother. He explained. I explained. He nodded, looking uncomfortable. Huntress, Lypye yelled. I need to speak with you. I walked over and slung my bow over my shoulder, crossing my arms. What's up? You promised to keep Kelly safe, she stated. She's alive, isn't she? I asked. I also told all of you to be prepared. Kelly's hand was cut, she pointed out. You're lucky it wasn't worse, I snapped. Where were you? She snapped. I didn't make it in time. I'm here now, I pushed. What about you? I went to the last place I left Kelly outside the city. Hyena was in the woods with Jawaria caught in a power-suppressing net set up by Karo, Lypye explained. Karo chuckled nervously.
Sorry.
Look, when a supermodel is created, a dual personality is created. That personality knows about the powers and is usually more sane. The main side, once they know about the powers, will become corrupt with power, sometimes even psychotic, I told her. She crossed her arms. So? It took me a while to fight my way out. The main side is usually stronger. Lypye, I sighed and took off the mask. I'm the Invisible Huntress.